James Lynch here, catching up with the Bellator Women's Featherweight Champion, Cris Cyborg. Cris, how are you this afternoon?
I'm great. I'm very happy and excited for see this next new.
Yeah, we're so excited to catch up with you. And I know recently you just celebrated your 3-year anniversary of winning the UFC title. Of course, you defeated Tonya Evinger that night. What do you remember about that fight? Because that was such a monumental moment in your career.
No, I remember I was really happy I was not have to cut to 140 anymore. And actually, we just put it on our YouTube channel, throwback, have a lot of videos, from that fight. And for the fans that like to see. And for me, it was the nice moment to look like I felt victory because all the time I have to cut for 140. And this time I'm going to fight on my own division. FC Open division, very cool.
How did you feel in that fight? You mentioned not having to cut those extra pounds. I don't think for a lot of people, they realize how much of a difference that is, fighting at 145 as opposed to 140. How did you actually feel in there?
I always prepare for all the fights the same way. I always train really hard, respect all my opponents. And I was really happy. The difference between 5 pounds is a lot. People think not, but when you cut a lot of weight, and then for 5 pounds is a lot of difference. The last 3 pounds is the worst one to lose. And for me, getting more 5 pounds for 145 after a lot of cut weights is amazing. I felt great. And I got the victory, that one, yes.
You don't strike me as someone who gets too nervous before fights. But were you a little bit more nervous for that fight just because it was for the UFC title, or did you treat it like any other fight?
For me, I always, like nervous, but you feel little butterflies in your belly, how's it going to be? But you always have to prepare, work hard. And, the one thing I like to feel when I go to the fight, I did everything. I did my best. Every day, I give my 100% focus at each training. And when I step inside the cage, I'm ready. I'm ready for any situation happen in the fight. And you feel something a little bit, but I think when you depend, it doesn't matter what belt you're going to fight, what organization you're at. I think you're prepared for the moment. It's going to feel the same thing before, but you just have to be prepared for the moment.
And of course, we haven't seen you in the cage for quite some time. A lot of people, right now are not getting to fight just because of COVID-19. But I know you've been keeping busy. Anyone who's been watching here on the channel, you've been putting up a lot of content. I got to know, we might as well start there. What is the latest on your next fight in terms of when you expect to get back in the Bellator cage?
No, Cyborg's back soon. And now I'm very excited. I'm not allowed to say anything yet when it's going to be my next fight. But I can tell you guys, can be excited. I'm already training, getting prepared, doing my camp. Soon we're going to have the news on the next fight. I'm very happy about it.
Yes, and we're certainly looking forward to that. When was the last time you spoke to Scott Coker, or your management has? Because you mentioned you got something in the works, so I imagine it was pretty recently.
I talk to Scott all the time. We have a nice relationship. The first time I signed a deal with Bellator, we already dinner together. This is the very different relationship I have with UFC. I was 3 years over there, and I have the same relationship with Dana. But with Scott, we have amazing relationship. I talk to him all the time and improve for see the next come on back to the cage, and I'm really happy.
Yeah, and that's an important thing. You want to have that respect on both sides of the coin, the promoter and the fighter. I imagine you talked to Scott throughout, COVID-19, because I'm sure he was trying to, let you know what was going on with the promotion.
And then I want to start the event. I know it's crazy time now. The COVID, they have a lot of things can happen in the fight. Maybe your opponents are going to be COVID. Maybe you have to change the opponents. I think it's have a lot of things going through now. But you have to, I already put my mind, doesn't matter. I always have in my mind because I'm the champion a long time in different organizations. They always think about, when you're the champion, you have to be prepared for any situation. If you change your opponent or someone's got to choose me or any organization I went, I have to be ready. When the champion, have to be ready who you fight. You have to keep training and see who's going to put in front of you. You have to be ready. And I know they would like to be my next fight to Arlene Blencowe. And he talked a little bit about in interviews. I think you guys can find after my last fight. And I began being prepared. We're going to be prepared for her, but of course I have to know if something happened, another person step in front, I have to be ready for any situation that happen.
Is there any concerns about Arlene getting into the United States just because of the COVID-19 travel restrictions? We're seeing a lot of international fighters not being able to get into the United States.
This is the first challenge for us, and hopefully Bellator is going to be work well, and then, work with both him, the athletes too, and they can be ready for next fight. But I think it's going to be good. I think they work on this, and for this fight to happen. Usually, I know she's fought 2 times already with Julia Budd, and she's fought with Leslie Smith, and she beat her. I think she's the #1 contender. The one thing is very nice when I was fighting UFC, when I fight with Tonya in the UFC, actually we tell in UFC, okay, this girl, she's top 5 that time, maybe we should fight her this fight. And the UFC keep signing girls on 35 for this fight, but this is the good thing Bellator before then start signing up a lot of girls in my division 145. And now this is gonna happen. I think contender #1. I'm really happy. I hopefully be her and everything is to work well and prepare for this fight.
And that's a key thing there. Like you mentioned, Arlene is a true featherweight, right? Like you just said, a lot of when you were in the UFC, it was a lot of 135-pound fighters moving up. How do you look at that fight with Arlene from a style perspective, if it does end up happening? Because I think it's a very interesting matchup.
I know I watched a couple fights of her. I see how she did a great fight with Julia Budd. She's a nice challenge for me, nice opponent for me, and she's contender #1. I'm very confident in my strike, my wrestling, my grapple. Maybe this fight I can try submit, can try different something. But I was looking for finish the fight, and it's gonna be an exciting fight.
Now, something we've talked about before, Rizin, they have that partnership with Bellator. I see that they're starting to put shows on again. Do you think it's ever a possibility we could see you over there as maybe sort of like a fun fight over there, fighting for them at all? Is that something you've discussed with Scott about?
The one thing very interesting when I signed to Bellator, we're able to do that, and Scott Coker is like to promote amazing fights, doesn't matter what organization you are, and like to do this. And for me, having girl, she's finding Rizin. She beat actually my friend Crystal, and then fight together. She's 155 pounds. And for me, it's gonna be amazing. People already calling me Vanderlei Silva, female. And for me, be fighting in Japan is gonna be one dream come true for me, because I watch all the shooter boxers from my gym in Brazil. Champion in Japan, and I like this fight style. And it'd be amazing if they have the opportunity to fight to her, someone there, 155. I'm open for that. I love challenging my career.
And what would it mean to get to fight for them on New Year's Eve? I think that's sort of the dream of every fighter, is to have that New Year's Eve fight in Japan. Is that something that you've thought of?
I went to that in-person event when Gabi Garcia fought over there, and it's how amazing. It's very different, I think every fighter should see this moment. And for me, it's going to be amazing if I have this opportunity. And if Scott Coker letting me do that, and we are partner, you work together. And if it be good for Bellator, good for me, for sure, it's going to be something like this.
How are the fans over there? That's one of the things we hear about, is that the Japanese fan base is a little bit different than in the U.S., where there's a lot of clapping even when it goes to the ground. Did you notice that when you were there, just seeing the crowd get into the fights?
Funny, because our team and the Brazilians do more loud over there than everybody else. Then very different, very different how they deal with the fighters, and then the respect like the American ones, But the Americans show more excited, Brazilian more excited then. But they have different way to share. They clap their hands. They say, "Oh," when they see great moments. But it's very cool. It's very cool.
Just because you mentioned it there, Chutebox, you reminded me of Mauricio Shogun Rua, who won a few weeks ago. How cool is it to see him win, especially at his age? I know he's still picking up wins at his age.
It's very great to see the both fighting, and then remember a lot about pride. When I start training Chutebox, I watch a lot of Shogun training, Vanderlei training, and when I see the both fighting, see nice, the last fight, Korea, Minotauro, and they did amazing fights. Both go for it, and it's very nice to see them fight.
All right, we talked a lot about fighting here. Let's switch gears a little bit and go into stuff outside the cage. I know you've, a lot of people during COVID-19, they've been picking up some new hobbies. What are some things that you've been up to outside of the cage, outside of training and everything else that you picked up? Any new hobbies, anything like that?
I have a lot of pets in my house, but one I got on gift from my friends, one bird, and never have a bird in my life. And I feel amazed. I felt so connected with him and so cool. I didn't know how cool having a bird. And another thing I started doing in the quarantine, be connected more with my fans. I got on piano, and I started learning a little bit, and then I doing lives with my fans, and then we sing together, we talk together. It's the moment usually is every Sunday, not every Sunday, but the time I'm able to do, I like to be in Sundays. And yes, this is two things. I'm reading more, this moment. And yes, but I have fun being home with my family, training, reading with Bird, and learning piano.
Yes, I heard your parrot is named Chael, as in Chael Sonnen. What made you decide that?
We watch some shows. Chael Sonnen is amazing commentator. He's do the both UFC and the Bellator. And when I see him, the bird like to talk, and I told Ray, I think it's going to be Chael Sonnen, because all the pets at our house is named the fighters. We have a Feather, a Blencowe, it's a dog. We have a Lee. We have a Sugar Ray, and we have the mini pork cow as our pig. And just the fish don't have names, but and they just put the Chael Sonnen on their bird.
Yes, and I just found out about the Cyborg Zoo. That's your Instagram account. How cool has that been, getting to work with animals? I think that's so awesome that you're doing that outside the cage.
It's very therapy. It deal with them. I love animals. It's hard for me when I have camp because there's a lot of animals to take care. But my family, we make one plan together for take care. But I love the connection. It's giving me a lot of peace, and we make the Cyber Zoo because funny because the fans can see me on other side cyborg. Because when you say cyborg, it's a cyborg something don't have a heart. And then when people follow me in Cyber Zoo, they see my daily, and very nice. We have a little, or we plant too, have like lettuce, we plant tomatoes, and we do something very cool over there. And learning, I'm learning every day. I have some tilapias too. We have on a little waterfall, and they start to take care of the fish and start to learn about them. I like this type of style, And before I want to be athlete or fighter, I have a dream to be veterinarian. And then for me, have the animals and training, and to take care of them and learning. It's an amazing moment for me.
And my last question here is we're catching up. It's been great to hear everything that you've been up to. Cooking, I got to ask about that because a lot of people during COVID-19, they're trying to work on their cooking skills. They're at home more. They're buying stuff. You're a very healthy person. You live a very healthy lifestyle. What is one of your favorite healthy meals that you like to make? I'm always curious hearing fighters, what they like to eat, something healthy.
For me, my favorite I like to do, it's bread toast with avocado and eggs on top. And this is my favorite. But at the house we usually from Brazil we love meat, but a little bit while I started like vegan, I like more fish and a lot of salads and vegetable. But the one thing, number one for me, I love it's avocado, avocado toast. And yeah, this is getting my day.
Does your daughter like it as well? Because I know that's one thing. It might be something if you like the meal, but does your daughter enjoy eating it too?
No, sometimes I do forever want a house.
Nice.
Yes, and I know, but Brazilians like to eat rice, cook beans, potato salad, and it's a lot of things to cook at the house. But now because when I'm starting on diet, it's different meals, but we usually eat a lot of this beans and rice.
Cris, it was awesome getting a chance to catch up with you. I'm so glad to hear you have your next fight date booked. We'll have to get an update on that very soon. But in the meantime, let people know where they can subscribe to this YouTube channel, where they can get a hold of you, and anyone you want to thank. I'll give you the last word.
No, and I say thank you for all my fans, all the support, all my sponsors. Say I'm really happy, excited for my next fight. And if you guys would like to know more, go to my website, chriscyborg.com. Over there you can find my YouTube channel. It's Cris Cyborg. It's very easy. Twitter is Cris Cyborg. My Instagram is Cris Cyborg. Follow me in my Cyborg Zoo. You're gonna like to. And I have my pink belt fitness too. It's for girls only, and we doing camps together. You know, it's very nice. I always connect to my fans. I make my the best for answer everyone. And that's it. I love you. Thanks for the opportunity to be with you too. And I'm very happy to start the CatchUp.